Hey, Barkdick. Hey, Austin. Morning. Morning. Figured I'd get in a little something. I'm working on our Secret Below stuff today. Been working on new input system stuff, some various options and everything that I wanted to put in, and just it started with wanting to make the second and third ending more accessible, but it's kind of snowballed into doing this other stuff too. Are you gonna release your game on Nintendo? I don't know how vocal they want me to be for that. But I mean, yeah, we're working on it. The reason we're tackling that is because that's the hardest one. And why did it do it twice? Restream, what are you doing? Whatever. But that's the toughest one because of the technical limitations. So if you get it converted over to support for their system, you know, you've done a lot of the work in terms of like getting it to work on console, and you kind of go up from there, right? You know, if you can get it working on there, which it does, you know, I've been playing it, then, you know, things like PlayStation, Xbox are much easier. Yeah, I know some people have asked about doing something like limited run. I've been open to it, but we just haven't, like, it's been very busy. That's kind of like a, how do we want to time things, right? Because there's some other stuff too that I would love to just like start right now showing, but it's gonna make more sense to time it with console release and that sort of stuff. Oh no, it doesn't. I'm not one that would allow that. No, it runs fine. Like I said, I've been playing it, and you know, of course, and making sure it runs well and looks good, and you know, given the limitations of the Switch, Dread's port team has been doing an amazing job with it. Hey, what's up, Grenade? I'm doing all right. I'm a little feeling a little not sleepy, I guess. I did my workout and I've just kind of been sitting here chill, so I'm in chill mode. But let's see if we can get all this. So I'm working, like I said, I'm working on Our Secret Below. I wanted to make it easier to get and understand ending 2 and 3. But in the midst of that, I wanted to upgrade to the new-ish, it's been out for a while now, Unity's input system, and basically get like key binding in and stuff like that. So it can work better on things like Steam Deck. You know, I went through all the work to get Mortuary Assistant approved for Steam Deck. Our Secret Below is not a candidate for being approved for it right now. They're only doing more popular games, but eventually it will roll out to other titles and probably eventually all titles. But I just want it to be able to work on deck. So I've been working on that. Hey, Jarvis. Unless you can make DLC work with both. What if you do physical? Yeah, there's going to be some DLC. That's actually what I'm working on next, in addition to the Patreon prototype stuff. Like, I've got a few things I do during the day. Like, I'm going to be doing some Creepshow stuff. I did most of it yesterday. I'll do some today, probably. But hold on. I think my camera's doing that weird low light thing. Nope, never mind. Popular games. You're releasing your game. Like the subject, how did you advertise it? I have a game coming out Friday, and I'm just tossing out emails with keys, and I have no idea how marketing works. I mean, that's kind of where I was at, right? Honestly, I didn't get tons of coverage for the subject, but yeah, I went for that. Man, that was a while ago now. I didn't take the same groundswell approach that I did for Mortuary Assistant that I now am just going to apply to everything. But you need a demo for that. It needs to be earlier, further back than, launching tomorrow kind of thing. But yeah, throwing out keys to small content creators, I would say, key mailer, stuff like that. That's probably going to be your best bet in that scenario, because at this point, especially so close to launch, like the big streamers and big content creators are not your target, right? Like you emailing Markiplier, they're not going to see it, right? But if you can get keys out to smaller content creators that are hungry for content, I would say that ups your chance of sort of spreading naturally. And this is the same thing that I've said. This is like a mini version of the groundswell thing that I did for Mortuary Assistant, where you basically are putting your effort into smaller creators, because again, they're hungry for content. They need new stuff from people like you, and then you need exposure from people like them. So there's this, like, if you get enough small content creators, say you manage to get like 50, let's just say, to play the game, right? That's 50 videos with your game in it to some degree, whether it's the I play 3 random horror games or check out this game, right? Whatever it is. That's 3 video, or geez, my brain's still not working. 50 videos that have your game mentioned in some capacity. So you have a much larger footprint across YouTube and ultimately Google and just the internet in that scenario, than if you got one Markiplier or one Jacksepticeye, right? Like, they're great for a big exposure burst, but it's not lasting, right? Having, like, right now, if I had only gotten like say only Jacksepticeye played it or Gab Smolders played it, and that was it. Then when I went to YouTube and typed in, let's see what happens. I'm just curious if we can lend to this. Let's see, Mortuary, not Mortuary Assistant, just Mortuary. There we go. So now this is me logged in. I'm not sure what would happen if I log out, but you can see, like, if you just search Mortuary, I'm in a good deal of things, right? And some of them are bigger creators, some of them are smaller creators, but the point is that the footprint's there, right? So my advice to you would be, yeah, get keys out to smaller creators. They need love and attention, deserve love and attention. So again, with this subject, that's certainly most definitely not my strongest title, since it's my first. But even considering that, I still got a free booth at DreamHack with it. I still got some level of exposure with let's see. I'm trying to remember who, like, the first creators were that played some of my stuff. I want to say it was Poised, but can't recall. It was, we're talking like almost 5 years ago now. Anime, that's true for anything, isn't it? Bring you a key mailer, then bought it anyway. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. If you don't have key mailer, Austin, if you don't have key mailer, you should get it. And honestly, we're analyzing your launch from both sides, right? It would be optimal to have key mailer set up and ready like a few months before launch, right? But that being said, if the game's out and you have key mailer set up, you load 50 keys into it, whatever, you're gonna get requests for it, right? And then you email out to small to mid creators keys as well. And then you've got a little engine going where it's like, some will see it in their email and they'll give it a try, and then their friends may see it and they may check Keymailer to make a request and see that it's there and make a request, right? So you can still get that momentum, I think. But you know, and then after that, I would say once your foot's in the door with a good amount of smaller creators, it's up to the quality of your game. Where I would say that where its reach comes from, right? Things like, is it fun? Is it accessible? Does it have a unique element to it? Like those sorts of things, right? And you don't need to be checking every single one of those boxes, but those things that sort of elevate a project are going to be the things that get noticed, right? So I'd say that's kind of where it is after that. You're doing your best to build the boat and push it out into the water, but once it's out there, you kind of have to let it move on its own steam, right? I've been aiming on getting as many emails as I can to the smaller creators. I'm hoping for the best, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Best of luck, Godspeed, all that. Really helped as a streamer. Make sure my stream went well. Brandy was, yeah. I'm gonna say I'd have been one of the best. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what I tried to. You know, I'm always like I get more spammy emails requesting stuff now, so it's really tough to weed through because I get a little, you know, I get a huge swath of like, you know, I'm a YouTuber and I'm requesting 5 keys for something, right? And so those just glaze by. Like I barely notice those things, but I still try to be as on top as I can of like emails and DMs and like, you know, I try to answer questions. I try to be available for podcasts. There's been a couple that I've missed, unfortunately, just because of either timing of the podcaster or of myself. So, you know, is this a new project? No, this is our Secret Below. This is the game that I put out before the Mortuary Assistant that nobody knows about. I had some things I wanted to do to make the second and third ending more accessible because they build on each other and complete the story. And I wanted to add key binding in the new input system, so hopefully I could get something a little more user-friendly on Steam Deck as well. And then I wanted to, later down the line, I've got a bunch of other things to do, I wanted to then be able to use this stuff that I've done to try and port to like Xbox or something, just because I want to do that process, basically, and learn how all that works and get it going smoothly. For now, though, I need to hook up basic key. I think right now what I'm on is key hints, like, or rather prompts where, you know, something comes up and it's like, press this button. I have an old lookup system that obviously doesn't work anymore. See how it says button ID down there? So I need to get that working properly. Now this, I believe, is correct. The put back and read. I believe these are ones that I have hooked up the system to. Good morning, Turtle. Yeah, I was very fortunate, Queen, but that also was its original momentum started during the Kickstarter for our Secret Below. About halfway through the Kickstarter, I put out the prototype that I made that was like 5 minutes of gameplay and was nothing like what the demo is, nothing like what the main game is, or full game. And that still got some attention because the idea was you know, cool, the embalming stuff. And once that got traction, I was like, shit, that's the game I should be making, but I need to finish this game. So I finished this game and then moved on to Mortuary Assistant right away. Then I put out the demo, and luckily there were people that remembered the prototype and they were like, oh, this is that game. And so they played it and they, you know, liked the improvements and everything. And that led to, you know, the full game. 5 minutes of gameplay, 20 minutes of content. For some, yeah. Would I be able to throw a link to the page in the self-promo? Yeah, absolutely. You can throw it in here. Will you ever do automotive games? I don't think so, unless I could do an automotive horror game somehow. It's not off the table, but... sorry, yes. Keymailer is a game key distribution platform, like Bartik has said here. Basically, content creators sign up for it, devs sign up for it on either side of the fence, and the content creators will see what games are available on Keymailer and will request keys. And then if you have keys in a pool, you see all the requests, and you choose all the different requests and assign them keys until you are out of keys. Just while you're working on the prototype, perhaps you can squeeze in some enemy AI practice. Yeah, that's what I'll be doing, Bartik. Switch to plan to revisit the subject and Cohate. The subject, so if/when I manage to revisit the subject and revamp all that, it's going to be a pretty different game. Not 100%. There might be some AI there for the monster might still be there, but we'll see. There you go. So Austin, when did you say you're launching your game? Is it tomorrow? Hold on. Email with small creators. Blah 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 blah. Coming out Friday. There it is. So, everybody check out Austin's game there. It is coming out Friday. 45 minutes because those are hard to remember. Yeah, James Franco, that's what that's sort of what I was talking about, where it wasn't really advertising. The idea that small content creators pick stuff up, and once that group of people have your game, it sort of needs to stand on whatever it is, right? So if it's got an interesting gameplay, if it's got an interesting mechanic, if it's got interesting visuals or whatever it is, the story's cool, whatever thing is like the marketable thing, if it's there and the game is good, then it'll spread further, right? Voice acting, more choices is pretty decent. Some of their games use mediocre voice actors. Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of things, right? The voice actors themselves, the writing, their delivery of like the emotions and stuff in it. Yeah, I've seen and played plenty of games where, you know, they're like, oh no, there's a bad guy over there, right? And you know, my eye or my ears are gonna pick that up and be like, ugh, you know. Okay, so what I was looking at was here. This should be yeah, okay, so the button lookups are working here. Cool. I want to make sure, let's see, I need these. So we do not have take set up. So that is what? Let's grab that. Collection. Okay, so collection, there's no prefab for it. There was a prefab for it, but not anymore. All right, so collection, get my little pad out here so I can write what game objects I need to select. Okay, so we got collection. Because if I start moving around with this, I need to fix the zone on that. So now this should change the put back to a button. There, B. Cool. So it is switching. So now I've got the reading that I need to get all donezo here. So that'd be under book controls. Cool. Those are all named properly. So that's easy. But I will write down the parent object. Okay, and I believe those are the only prompts other than like the hint things that I have that come up. Let me grab something and put in my inventory. I think that's where that prompt comes from. You, what are you? That is okay. So prompt, control button. So I don't know if prompt ends up changing. Do we have a script on it of any kind? Description, inventory, icon, info. Okay, it doesn't look like it. I mean, press kits available. Yeah, Austin, just try to put like a little press kit together, right? Just like the logo and like some screenshots or whatever. Just a few things so you have something to send somebody, you know. It's just useful. Find writing review on Steam, helpful. Yes, Steam reviews are super important. That's how people tell that a game is good. It's also what Steam uses for a lot of visibility metrics. So yeah, it is very important that you leave reviews. It absolutely is. I feel if you can get good voice acting, it's possible. Yeah, if you can't get good voice acting, yeah. Yeah. I heard that Steam can't say your game's reviews are overwhelmingly positive until it hits a certain number of reviews. Yes. Yeah, you need a certain number of reviews and a certain number of positive reviews. It's like 95% is overwhelmingly positive. I believe it is. I was in there for a bit with Mortuary Assistant. But, you know, it's a constant battle. And right now it's very positive, which is, I believe, at 80% and up, and it's at 94%. So yeah, the recent reviews are 94%, so 1% away from overwhelmingly positive, and 92 for all reviews, which is not bad, you know. So 92% of all reviews. So yeah, it's got 3 more for overwhelmingly positive, but still, that does help a lot for visibility and for people that, you know, check it and are like, "What? How good is this game?" It's like, "Oh, good. It's not shit," you know. Yeah. To Bartik's point, to Austin there, when I was doing the subject and I was reaching out to a lot of smaller people and stuff, or rather they were reaching out to me, because a lot of the smaller ones are pretty proactive because they obviously want their content to be as good as possible. They'll reach out and ask for you know, any materials like a logo or screenshots or renders and stuff because they want to use them in their thumbnails and things, you know. I don't know, continue to promote people. Can't believe games that have sold over 10 million copies at full price like Pokemon still. Yeah, well, I mean, why would you, right? They're selling over 10 million copies and they don't have any voice acting, so why would they need to add voice acting? You know, why pay for that if they're already making that profit, you know? So much worse than 90%. Yeah. Yeah, very fortunate. I can't believe. No, that's why you ask, right? That's why being here and talking about this stuff is good, right? Is so that we can get that knowledge out for everybody. Hey, Spinner. Yeah, exactly, Bartik. Horror game nerd. Thank you for the follow. Thank you. Okay, let's update some of these prompts here. Just realized my mic would pick all that up. Hear a lot of gulpies. Yeah. Twitch is better. Well, I mean, that's why we're doing Restream. This is the test to see which platform works. You know, I've got Restream for a year, so I figured I would just do Restream. I'd do it on all of them and see what has the best engagement. Not necessarily the highest, but the best. So we're going to go into this. And now I've got collection. I've got, yeah, this button assignment deal, which needs to go away. And we're going to add button hint lookup. That's going to get this text, I think. Yeah. And this is going to be collect, so it's going to be take. Where are you? Millie Bees. Hello, thank you. Restream costs money. I thought most people couldn't multi-stream through OBS. No, so yeah, Restream, most people could multi-stream. There's no option to stream to more than one service in OBS. Maybe if you do some hacky thing where you have multiple OBSs running, or maybe you've got some plugin, I don't know, so I haven't seen it. But yeah, it was like 120 for the year. And I was like, that's a bit, but, you know, I kind of want to see which thing works out the best instead of hopping around and constantly being like, well, maybe this or maybe that, right? I just want that data. I can see that. Oh, favorite horror game. I get asked that all the time. And honestly, I don't play tons of horror. I play other stuff. But Silent Hill is definitely up there. PT, of course, the little trailer thingy, everybody enjoys that and influenced about 1 million clones. Let's see. I mean, I play, you know, I like Resident Evil. I've played a lot of them, but I guess it's horror, you know, it's not necessarily like, I feel like it's not always necessarily trying to be spooky. It's more of a, you know, I guess because of the subject matter it is. Yes, I am. Yeah. Yeah, Silent Hill 2 remake. Gonna be pretty cool. All right, let's see. I did key press. I got it. Take. So that's cool. Next was book controls. So we're gonna drop that down. This, and this. We're gonna do our button hint lookup right here. It's gonna be text. Where is book forward? Book open. There we go. Take end book forward. And then back. It's the top one, okay. There, and then book back. And then book open. Open, close, there we go. Cool. So those are done. And I'm doing this in the prefab, so it'll show up in other things. I don't know if it actually shows up anywhere in any of the asides, but I have most of that when I was creating the Steam art. Yeah, that's the thing, is you create a lot of those assets just by doing Steam stuff, so works out. We're going to involve a lot of research, yes. I didn't get to do much of talking with real morticians. I did after launch, like afterwards a bunch of them came out and were like, hey, you know, I know this or that, and I'm totally happy to share my my knowledge, which is awesome. But when I was making it, I actually wanted to go to an actual mortuary, but height of COVID kind of thing. You're not gonna be able to get in there, let alone into the prep room and stuff, and yeah, so I had to do lots of research with instructional videos, instructional documentation, documentation on the different tools and chemicals, reading about just the history of it all and everything. Trisha, thank you. Yeah, well, I've looked up more disturbing stuff for previous games than than all the embalming stuff. Okay, I think... Oh, prompt. Where is that? Prompt is in here somewhere. Prompt. Button ID, description, data space. Okay, something is controlling that prompt. What is doing that? Does the UI system control that or something? Let's see. What's going on with prompt in here? Because if it's being populated by a few different thingamajigs. Yeah. Is that me or you? Oh, it's Twitter. Okay, so where was this prompt? Long text. Hint is on there, yeah. Option button. The button is reading long text, no time, audio clips. I see no prompt thing. How does this work? how does this thing work? Did you get any vans with a ton of communication equipment just kind of hanging out? No. Popping out to eat. Enjoy your eating. Okay, why? Where is this? Does this have something on it that I'm not aware of here? I mean, clearly there's something pinging this to turn on, and I'm trying to figure out what. UI system is not it. Okay, you know what? I think Rider might have some good stuff here. Maybe scan for usages. Okay, nope, not gonna get any information there. Great. Tutorial maybe. Timeline, no. Start chain, tutorial box. This all just runs the little tutorial intro. Pass manager, game manager. As we go back in time for my code, it becomes infinitely more messy. I love Rider a lot. It does a lot of great like code helpy things. With any sort of like, it actually helps you code more cleanly, simply because it throws up suggestions for things like if you do like a switch case and you've set it up a certain way, it'll realize and be like, hey, you could do it this way, and you like right click and choose the adjustment, and it'll like make it more compact and clean and change the code to something more efficient, and then you're like, oh, that's a way I can do it, neat, and so then you get a little bit of knowledge in there. There's also Rider Flow, which is a plugin for Unity, which does a lot of great stuff. It's not in our secret below. Actually, I may have put it in here, I forget. But you can make things like you can make labels, which is basically just empty game objects like this, but you can favorite them and stuff and look like search for them and find them in all your game objects very easily. I don't know what prompt system is. Oh, it found it. It just put it up here. That was one of the things. Cool. Okay, well there that is. Awesome. So in here we got skip. So action ID, what I'll need to do is probably just steal. The best thing to do is probably going to take my button hint lookup code and just use it here. It's a mono behavior, so I don't think I can really. Yeah. Yeah, I took it out for a bit, like didn't bother because there was a weird issue when you were playing. Like I had a sound system that would instantiate certain sounds, so there'd be a game object that appears, right? And Ryder was always checking the hierarchy anytime it changed for, like, I guess its own labeling system and stuff like that. So anytime it made a noise, whether it was footsteps or opening a door or whatever, it would like hiccup for just a second as the hierarchy sort of refreshed. If you collapsed everything, that problem would go away. So it was just a weird thing, though it seems like they've taken care of it in a recent update. Not super recent now, I guess at this point, couple months old. Well, I mean, you know, they do. I used to use JetBrains stuff for Java. Yeah, it makes sense with the flow stuff that they do. That they do in hierarchy. Like you can associate notes with game objects as well, and I can understand just like checking the order of those things and all that is probably just inefficient. Well, clearly because they fixed it. Oh, it's weird. Thing I get in my Unity when I move my character, my mouse sense doubles. It only happens in editor, and I have no idea what. That is weird. Mouse sensitivity is a pain in the butt already. Yeah, may have been Artificer, because yeah, it was just in editor. If you collapsed everything, it would go away, because it wasn't updating anything then visually in the hierarchy, and it didn't exist in a build. Okay, what am I doing here? So we've got in here, I clearly have, what is the class I've set up here? Items, so skip, stand, and inventory. So I need to, okay, calm down. Prompt system has this guy right here. So we've got our ID. I think what I could do instead, I'm trying to see how I could do this easily. I'm assigning the text of the prompt text, prompt image. Where do I set the value? Trigger alert box, wait time floating, prompt ID. So set box values. Here it is. Okay. Prompt image, sprite equals a sprite. Oh, put a note in here for myself. That would pop up, though it's pretty obvious now. I see. So I think, yeah, because I had removed the code and put that debug there because I had gotten rid of rewired. So I'm in all sorts of weirdness here. So we got prompt text. Curious. I'm just trying to pick apart how this button text is. There it is. Okay. So button text is here. What is that on? Prompt system. Ew. Okay. It's probably a TextMesh Pro thing or something. Oh wait, no, I wasn't using TextMesh Pro in here yet. Oh, there it is, button text. It's just grayed out. I'm done. We don't need button image. We're gonna get rid of that. And then when we populate, here we go. Text equals instead of action ID, what I need is an input action reference. If I could create a new one of these dudes real quick and plug this in. Fine. Okay. LTS. What is that? I'm under a rock while I'm in the middle of development stuff. Oh, long-term support. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's that I've always been on like the edge of things, getting new builds and stuff like that. But yeah, it would be very nice to have most recent build from everything over the year that's actually stable to use on the next project, and then don't change that shit. The problem was during my previous projects, especially Mortuary Assistant, there was a lot of growing in the HD pipeline. And so new things that were super useful kept coming out, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to update. Okay, button text. Won't need that. All I need is the action. So really all I need to do is look this up. Display strings empty. Device layout name. Let's just, you know what? I don't even want to bother. I'm just gonna piggyback it here. And we'll adjust it to be string. Don't need to worry about any of that. Okay, M action is going to be, we're going to pass through our action. Oh, action reference, my bad. Bent normals feature in the Unity material. I have no idea what it's for. Bent normals. That sounds familiar, but I can't recall if I did something with it. I'll have to look into it. Those are the sort of things that, like, when I'm in the middle of making something, I don't bother looking up any of those things. So I'm making the things I'm making. I don't need new stuff. I mean, I should try to pay attention to that stuff as much as possible, but yeah, it's also like it's a balance of like what's a useful thing I can integrate and what's something that I'm not even gonna bother with right now, you know. Okay, so now all I'm doing is updating the button text with the binding display. And then we return the result here. Cool. So I should be able to, after whatever error is stopping the compiling, what's happening? Oh wait, no, there it is. Instructions, yes, and prompt IDs. Okay, yeah. So skip is gonna get input action skip, and then stand. That's gonna be the crouch, and then And I think that's going to be skip again? I think? I don't remember. Inventory, that's going to be a pause in there. Yeah, I can't recall what I pressed to do that. Maybe that's something that I haven't set up yet. I haven't played the game all the way through yet. Obviously, once I get all these things set up and working, I need to play through the entire game, both with keyboard and mouse and with controller. Yeah. Is it mesh transformation, like bullet holes and stuff? Maybe. Though usually you need like tessellation for mesh transformation like that, especially usually like parallax. Bent normals, uniform. Draws bent normals. Wasn't learning how to influence Unity because as far as I know, it's not supported out of the box. My understanding, bent normals are shading improvements used in ambient occlusion. They won an Oscar for that, if I remember correctly. There are many ways to do AO, so give some. Oh, here, this guy. This dude I have seen everywhere, forever, on everything. This person lives on these forums. Way to use bent normals is just use them instead of regular normal maps. Probably kind of does this. Use basic normal maps for all content to start with and right to G buffer, then calculate the SSAO pass. Lighting is done with bent normals and not original normals. For Unity, right, another nice hack, blah, blah, blah. Community docs about lit shader. Science texture defines the bent normal map for this material in tangent space. It uses bent normal maps to simulate more accurate ambient occlusion. Okay. Cool. Yep. There's a few people who are very, very active. Yep. Are you the guy who made the game for I mean, I guess. What do you want to hear? Detail map for normals. Cool. Well, not ambient occlusion though, so not necessarily. They already have a detail map where one of the channels is used for normal. Or two of them, I think. Whatever. So, Alright, I've done those things, so we'll test and see if those are fixed. And then I think the next step... Ooh, wait. I want to get to here and go to this and set a... I want to see if for crouch, where I use the trigger, if I could put a processor on this and normalize it. Minimum, maximum. And that way it'd be 0, hopefully, I think. Any movement towards... We'll see. I'm honestly not sure. We'll see. It's just something I'm doing because I'm like, yeah, maybe that'll work. Because trigger is my crouch toggle. And so because it's a trigger, it has a range, and that's messing it up. So I'm trying to see if I can just clamp that or convert it. Winner official. Hello, thank you. And stuff happens in game. I need the title as Horrific Game Dev. Is this actually a reference to your code because your game content is delightful? Both? Also, thank you. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, there's all of our stuff. Let's go ahead and make skip something else. Instead of space, it's going to be L. And we're going to see if L pops up for the skippy. I mean, we got my debug text there saying, "Hey, it worked, man." but that's just saving and loading. I know that works, and I know it works for other controls. This is just the prompt-based thing. Nailed it. God damn it. Nothing.
Oh my god.
I mean, L obviously skips, but... Okay. Oh, that worked. So why... Options. Let's take pause as... Oh, can I not rebind that one? It should be a... Why can I not rebind this? I must be missing the thingy for that. How many hours a day do I game dev? All day. I don't know. I mean, when I was full on Mortuary Assistant, usually when I'm like deep into something, it ends up being about 16 hours a day, unless, you know, I'm going crazy. But with Mortuary Assistant being out, kind of in between stuff, I'm taking things a little bit slower, so it's probably your normal. I mean, it's, well, let's see. Hold on. Anywhere from 8 to 10, I would say. On a normal, slow, casual day. And don't get me wrong, there are other days where it's like I work like 2 hours and just go easy on the day just because it's nice to be able to do that. But I would say my average, my normal is like just your standard work day. And then when I get into full development mode, just because I like doing it and I get stuck in it, then it's a much longer day. I'd say it's anywhere from, you know, a range of 10 to 16. Can you retire because of MA? No. It supports my game development, my future game development, yes, for a while. But it's not retirement money. Choo Choo Charles guy, on the other hand, that man has retirement money. Guaranteed. Okay, inventory, escape. Cool. Great, great, great. Now that ordering should be different. That guy just, he popped off because that thing, it's like I think he got the same number of reviews Mortuary Assistant has right now in like the first day. So that's absolutely insane. I mean, you know, you never know how many returns there are or anything like that. But, you know, it's usually not that bad. So they are doing pretty well. Cool. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane for something that started out as a meme game. And I mean, a lot of the feedback is that the game's really short. And it's a mix of whether that's a positive or negative review, you know. But mostly, I believe it's at very positive or something, isn't it?
I think so. Well, that's lost.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's not like it really matters at this point. 9 out of 10. Very positive, yeah. 92%, 92%. So this guy's basically got the same positivity score that I do, but with 7,753 reviews. So what you can do is you can always go to Steam Revenue Calculator, and you can check that stuff out. So you can be like, okay, the game is $19.99, so $20. And it's got 7,753. So its total revenue thus far is somewhere in the range of, obviously this is all just based on like assumptions of various like launches and returns and things like that. I would say that this is pretty accurate. This number is nowhere near accurate given my my experience with each game. The net revenue would obviously be the take home after all the other stuff, and it's usually higher than that. Then it's usually off by a good margin. So, you know. So yeah, they're doing pretty well. Now, of course, taxes are going to take a huge chunk of that, and that's another reason why, you know, mortuary assistance, not retirement money, all that sort of stuff. But still, regardless, this individual has done very well. So more power to him. Good on him. Well, the thing is like I got the same sort of comments about like the success of Mortuary Assistant, but it isn't really in one night. You know, Mortuary Assistant was 2 years. Choo Choo Charles, I have no idea how long that guy worked on it. So it is weird that like the result is instant, you know? Aside from the fact that Steam takes forever to actually get a payment to you because they pay for the previous month. So you go through the first month and you don't get anything. And then you go through the second month until the end of the month, and then you get the previous month, right? Yeah. Yeah, Austin, that's what I say. I'm super fortunate with how it's gone. Keep in mind, also I have a publisher. They take a percentage as well, though my percentage take is 75%, which is much more generous than usual. But I think it's a lot of different factors where they came in later in development. I already had like 80,000 wish lists. Their contribution on what they needed to do was minimal. But they did do like advertising stuff and things like that. They're doing the porting right now. So it was a bit more work. Usually it's like it's like a 70-30 I think you normally would get away with. Sometimes they'll go as low, this isn't for Dread, but sometimes they'll go as low as like 60-40. But it all depends upon the involvement of the publisher, right? Like, did they basically fund it from the very beginning all the way to the end and do the advertising and do the play testing, which is another thing they provided. All those things. So obviously they recoup. That's the other aspect of it, is they need to recoup. A publisher, this again isn't exclusive to Dread, a publisher will recoup everything they've spent before you see anything. So even if your split is like that 60-40 split, you won't see a dime until your publisher has gotten all their costs back. And that's their play, right? Is they put the money up front, they get that money back, and then they get a percentage of things. And that's how it all works. Are you jealous that Epic is a better game? No, people are gonna do what they do, right? It's not necessarily that one game is better than the other. I don't want to go there for any fellow developer, but I think this shows how important a hook is. Whether you want to say it's the gimmick of the game, a certain mechanic, whatever it is, the hook. We were talking about this earlier, where a game needs to stand on its own after it's been seen a little bit. And, for me, it was Embalming Dead Bodies. People saw that was new and different, so they got really into that. Choo Choo Charles, it is Thomas the Tank Engine doing evil shit, which has been a meme in existence for a very long time. So making a game off of that immediately resonated with a whole group of people that normally wouldn't be into specifically indie horror, right? And I don't know if I'd put that strictly in horror. I mean, it is because he's a spooky spider engine. And I know there are elements to it. But yeah, I mean, success is success. So I'm not gonna begrudge someone. It doesn't do me any good to be like jealous of anything, right? I am happy for them. I'm glad that that they are getting what they deserve with the work they put in and the idea that they had, because the idea itself is worth something too, right? Like the game would not exist without the idea to even create it. So despite, regardless of however much work went in or anything like that, that is a factor too. I'm far from competing with them, but I do want to contact RXP for publishing. As a big fan of their games and the movies from another company. Yeah. If you don't mind, could you explain the publishing process a little bit? How did you come to work with them? Did you contact their publisher? So first of all, they do horror, right? So you need to make, horror game nerds, so I'm assuming. But so they contacted me for the DreadX 5 collection, actually. If you've played that, there's a game in there called Book of Blood. That's mine. It was made in like 2 months, so hold any criticism. No, you can have whatever criticism you want. But so they contacted me for that. I told them that we were just having conversation in general about Mortuary Assistant and about the DreadX collection, and it came up that I was talking to a bunch of different publishers. The most recent at the time was Team 17, so I was talking about them, and there were some words said about them. So I was like, oh, okay, well, but anyway, towards the end of the conversation, we were wrapping up, and they were like, well, if you are legitimately looking for a publisher, we would also be interested. And so, given my experience with them before that, it's with the conversations leading up to joining for DreadX 5, I could see that they were passionate about indie games and indie horror specifically, and having a publisher focused on your thing is much better, right? Because imagine if I had gone with like Team 17, what would Mortuary Assistant look like next to Overcooked, right? Or what is it? Is Golf with Friends one of theirs? I forget. But anyway, the point is that when the company of that you share is not on brand, pretty much, it becomes a little weird unless they're gonna make and I'm talking about like if you go to PAX or E3 or something like that, right? Also, their approach is probably going to be different. I don't think they would have been as in the horror space, Trap Reaper, thank you very much for the raid. Hello. Hi. How was your stream? We're talking about publishers and my experience thus far. Yeah, well, they had some bad stuff come out shortly after I had decided not to go with them. So it still was for the best. But that's just something to think about, right? And another thing would be the communication that you have with your publisher. It's really hard sometimes to get in contact with various people at a publisher, especially a really big one. You may have a point person that is in charge of tons of projects, and a lot of times publishers will play favorites where they're like, this is a big one compared to this one, so we're going to pay more attention to the big one because we're going to make more money, right? That's a very interesting brand of cool, weird games. It's funny, they were the only publisher that I approached a while ago, like when the demo was still like some boxes and stuff, and you had the body, you were doing the embalming, and I shared all that stuff, and they were like, nah. But then obviously after the demo came out, there was a lot more interest, but not from Devolver. But anyway, issues that can arise are like, I was talking about you need to recoup the money that they put in before you see any of it. Imagine if your publisher just did all the advertising without consulting you at all, right? There's already a lot of stuff that goes on for like purchases of things on your behalf for your project, like tied to it, that you may not know about simply because they're like buying YouTube ad space, or they're buying swag or something like that, right? Just expenses. And so imagine if you have one, they go all out and they're paying for all these things, and before you know it, you owe them $250,000, right? Now your game has to make $250,000 before you see anything. Better hope your game does better than that, right? Which is extremely rare for indie games. Now, a lot of times if you have a publisher tied to you, that may help a little bit, but it depends on who it is. Let Donkey was starting a publishing house. I haven't heard much. Yeah, Big Mode. I don't know. like I reserve any assumptions, like any sort of like personal assumptions on that shit, because you know, there's some people say like it's a case of like, oh, I play games all the time, so I know what a good game is, therefore I can publish a game. There's a lot of different pieces to game development, right? And so it's definitely a big old mountain to climb, but it's also about how simplistic you want to keep things. Maybe their system isn't going to be full on publisher support. Maybe it's going to be more monetary support and some advertising, right? And not a lot else. You know, maybe they don't provide playtesting, maybe they don't provide porting and those sorts of things, right? So there's a lot of factors to it. So I have no idea what the plans are. More power to them. But if the idea is I am big YouTuber, therefore I will be good advertising for a game, therefore I can be game publisher, that's not going to work. I'm not saying that's their mindset or anything. It's just if that's the mindset. Contacted you for collection after you released MA demo? Yes. So the Mortuary Assistant demo went out. They saw my work and liked it, so they wanted me to make something for the DreadX collection because they wanted something of the same flavor, I guess. Last video I talked about something he's publishing a little bit. Animal Well, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't followed any. I haven't watched any of Donkey stuff in a while. Yeah, of course. But I mean, there's so much more to signing with a publisher and everything, because we went to talks with that stuff, and you know, there's going back and forth on a contract. You know, contracts can be changed, and they were, to Dread's credit, they have been extremely open and willing to compromise and work together with someone that they're building a contract with. They will change things. They will, you know, reach agreements on stuff. They were good about that. Yes, Winter Official, I would recommend, if you can get a demo out, to get eyes on it and gain some traction. That's definitely going to be a good thing. Our Secret Below didn't have any of that. I mean, I do have a demo for it, but I don't think I put it out at the right time or in the right way. Hey, Cypher. Seen Ted in an interview. He seems like a genuine... Yeah, he is. He's a good dude. Ted's a fun guy. Okay. Okay, so now the flashlight's an interesting one because this is F for the flashlight. So what I probably want to do is change that icon to just be the flashlight and have a little box next to it that will be like, you press this button for the flashlight. Same for the notepad. Because you bring this up and it's like, and for leaving a note. Oh wait, actually no, this one isn't. Okay, cool. Never mind, that's good. That one's fine. Okay, cool. Let's see. Oh, is Steam open? That messes with the controller input on here. No, it's not. What happened then? Am I plugged in? Oh, no. Okay, there we go. I must not have been clicked into the editor screen. Why did you decide to use full body FPS in your games? It's just something I wanted to try, and a lot of people complained about in indie horror videos. How like you're always this disembodied head and there's never any reflections and things. So I wanted to do something different with that. And I did for this and Mortuary Assistant. I don't know if it's necessary, really. People make a joke about it, but ultimately they don't really care. However, with Our Secret Below and Mortuary Assistant, I do a lot of animated sequences where the character is getting, like, they get thrown around or they teleport somewhere weird and something's happening, and having that body animation to help sort of show what's happening is useful, right? Because there's a scene in this where a bunch of hands come up out of the floor and grab you, right, and pull you down, and if I don't have a body for the hands to grab, it is like, how do I communicate that? How does that become interesting, right? But having the body, I can have them look down and have their body move out of the way, and maybe even move the camera forward if I'm trying to be sneaky with how I look at stuff. And then you see the hands come up and grab the legs and pull down, and it's like, that helps, you know? Thanks, Ike. But anyway, that's why I do it. It is definitely more work. I don't know if I will do it for every single title. But it works for things where I plan to have animated sequences that, you know, if I were to throw something together a little faster, I wouldn't do it, right? But it's one of those things that I think helps. Oh, controls here. I'm gonna like go options. Cool. Oh, whoops. That was dumb of me. Because this unpauses. There we go. There we go. Yeah. All right. How do you implementing it? I know a lot of devs struggle with camera stabilization. So I do not attach the camera to the head bone of the character, which I think might be something that other people do. And it makes any movement super weird and like gross. The other thing is, like, if I'm looking down, I not only rotate the camera down, I bring it forward when that happens to better simulate the fact, because like if I look down, my eyeballs don't just rotate straight down and my head disappears, right? Like I look down and my eyes are actually going forward as I look down. So I simulate that as well when you're looking down. There are other things when I do animated sequences where I will just take the camera and the body will do its animation, but the moment the camera's like clear of it, the body's just like in the background while the camera's doing everything, because now the player has gotten a hint on what's happening. And then if I go back into view of the body, the animation picks back up, right? It's just to save time, you know? I'm not going to animate the entire thing. Is there a method of building your puzzle and elements in your levels? I'm wondering how you go about deciding how your level flows. I usually go, like, I'm very story-driven in my stuff. So, I tend to build a design document where I write out the base story elements, and then I come up with major beats for gating, like how stuff is going to work. And then from there, I'll figure out how I want to gate it. Now, the thing is I'm moving away from puzzles as a major gating mechanism, because I feel like that's pretty common in indie horror, and it's really easy to frustrate people. Because this is a little different in Our Secret Below, because it's basically an escape room, so there's gonna be puzzles. But I think it's far better to have a puzzle that unlocks additional content, or like extra items, or maybe another save spot, or something like that, right? It's just something where if you play the game the whole time, it doesn't keep you from beating the game, but it's also something the player can be like, what was that all about? And come back to it, right? For something like this, I actually have like story reasons for each of these puzzles, and I've tried to make them in terms of like ramping up. So one of the puzzles, you can find these in any order, but one of the puzzles was this, where you just collect a thing and collect it on the back, and then you'll be able to collect a card here, right? So all you gotta do is find the part, put it on the back, and realize that you can now interact with another part of it and pull stuff out, right? So that's a pretty low level one, and it gets you in the right mindset. There's another one here that's pretty low level that I've added these little hint things to be like, hey, this is a major element, right? This might help progression. There's other stuff that don't have that, but major ones I've decided to add that just to help people along. But you'll see this and get an idea that, okay, the number probably has something to do with this. I don't know what I do with that, though. And one thing I think that's important to know with puzzles is that people are going to struggle with them, because anything that you think is simple is going to be too complex for a player, because they have no idea what you're doing, right? you know, because you've thought of all this stuff, so to you, even the most simple puzzle is going to seem like this is too simple. I need to up the difficulty, and then people are just going to be lost. So that's why things like where I've got the little icon things here seem like overkill, but the average person, they're wandering around here never having seen this before. And they go, oh, here's a number thing. Okay. And they go continue looking around. And then after a while, maybe they'll come to this thing and see the exclamation mark there and go like, okay, what's that? Oh, I can put numbers in. Boop, 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 boop. And then it boop. Okay, well, maybe this, okay, so I need numbers for something. Well, I remember there was a number over here, so maybe it's that, right? So they're piecing together in a very different way than you are. Yeah, for sure. Is there a method of building? Oh, puzzles and sharing. Is voice acting expensive to add to video games? Not necessarily. Depends on who you find. A lot of voice actors have like indie rates, and they'll work with you. Like they want to do fun projects too, so they'll work with you on like your rates. And some will be like per word, some will be per line. So you know, you write up your script and know what your budget is and know what they charge, and try to keep your script within there. But you can absolutely find people that are affordable. I mean, everybody I use in Mortuary Assistant, they were great to work with, and I would say definitely affordable. So, you know, they exist. There's lots of voice actors too. You put a call out there on Twitter, you're gonna get flooded in a way that's really difficult to kind of piece through all of it. Did you get feedback that puzzles were too complex? It's some yes and some no, Marilyn. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Is some people, they're gonna think, oh, this is way too easy, this game sucks, or they're gonna think this is way too difficult, this game sucks. So, you know, how do you walk that line? That's why puzzle games are sort of they're a weird beast. Megapixel is correct. There have been times where I've told people answers and they still didn't understand it. Because keep in mind, you've got everybody from hardcore gamers to people who maybe they majorly play games on their phone, right? So, oh, whoops. All right, I lost. Oh, you know what? No, actually, I want to see this happen. Because I've got weird issues with things. Light on is strange there. But I can't really control that in all situations. By the way, for looking down thing, I just attached the camera to a parent that is at the neck height of my character, and I just rotate that parent head. Do you think he'll face problems in the approach with this approach? Not necessarily. It depends on what you're going to do with your camera. So things like Mortuary Assistant, where I have inspection points, right, where the camera zooms in, I would take the camera from that parent object and move it to a location. And then when I'm done, I child the camera to that object and just move it back, setting vector 0, right? So it goes back to full thing. But you get some weird things where, like, if your rotation of the parent object is still happening, or like if it's in a weird angle when it comes in, is that going to do something weird to your view? There's some weird stuff that can happen. But ultimately, that's the way that I do it. So I don't think it's that wrong. I usually have a camera holder, yeah. The people I couldn't figure out was the one under the stairs, but I think I remember you saying that was given out for that was for Kickstarter. I'm thinking of actually adjusting that. That was this guy here. So this was for Kickstarter backers. They received a email that provided the other half of this, basically. Yeah, Marilyn, yes. You can't make assumptions about any player. You can't expect them to know things. Oh, wait, I just realized I got my options. Skip is still L on there, and I don't recall seeing that, so hold on. What I need to do is exit and re-back in. Then it's lunchtime, so I need to disappear. And then I got some other stuff, so I don't think I'll be back to stream after lunch here. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, so let's see. Skip comes up, and I want to pause and see. Oh, wait, it came up, and then I didn't see it because I was too busy looking at my phone. Everybody rubbing on their phones these days. Okay, so what I need to see here is if the text is actually there, but it's just not showing up for some reason. That wouldn't make sense because it's a key. But you never know. Prompt. Description. Skip scene, so that was correct. Key. Yeah, it's got nothing. So why? Why is it doing that? I don't know. I think it was the $10 tier. Was a specific tier, or maybe I missed it. I forget which tier it was. That was so long ago. I forget which tier. But it leads to a special thingy that gives you an extra card. Basically, it makes getting through faster. So if you were a backer and you beat the game the first time and you wanted to get to the other endings, this would help you speed up that process. That's all it got you. Okay, so I need to figure out why that's not happening, but that's going to be an after lunch thing. Because I gotta eat. All right, everybody, I'm going to disappear. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to be back second half of today. I got other stuff I got to do, and then I pick up the kids from school, and then there's all this stuff. So lots to do in adult world. So I'm going to be off doing that. But thanks for coming, and I only did so much. I know we chatted a lot. I hope some of it was useful and helpful and all that. So hopefully you got something out of this. All right, I'm out. Thank you to all the patrons for backing my work. I really appreciate it. You make the world go around. It's how I pay for a lot of stuff. Thank you very, very much. I will be hopping back into the prototype again today. Sometime I work on it each day. But I'm trying to do this Our Secret Below stuff now and get it done and over with. So that's you'll be seeing updates for it soon, and hopefully I'll get you guys playing it sooner than later. If you want to be part of all that, there's the Patreon and there's the socials. If you want to follow on Twitter or join the Discord, that's where I put when I go live, so you'll be aware when this happens again. All right, everybody. Thank you for hanging out. I will talk to you later. Bye.